Okay, so me and Dylan are here doing Materialists today.
Oh God.
We're currently sitting in the theater, so if you hear noise behind us, that's why.
Yeah, just a tad bit.
Just a tad. So this is what we...
To be fair, you're the one that knows anything about this movie. I don't know anything.
Which we're both technically going in blind, even though I've been
You've seen the
spoiled.
trailers. I haven't.
Yeah. Dylan's gonna have to hold me down during this.
And she informed me that there is in fact a shower scene.
Apparently, allegedly, from what I've seen. I don't know.
You're hoping.
Maybe. But we'll check back in with you guys after the movie.
Yay.
You're listening to Popcorn Unscripted,
the podcast where we dive into movies and TV shows with no scripts, no filters, just real talk and plenty of popcorn.
I'm Bailey.
And I'm Dylan.
We're here to talk about everything we love
And love to hate.
in pop culture. So grab your popcorn
Sit back.
and let's get this show started. All right, Dylan. It's episode 15.
Yay!
Yay. This is take 2, actually, because I kind of mixed up. But it's fine.
It was just a small like issue. We were just using the wrong mic.
You said that wrong. But anyway.
That's it. That's all it was. But we're going to try to take 2, and hopefully we can say all the stuff that we did the first time, but we didn't get very far. We only got 12 minutes in.
We recorded for like 12 minutes, and we were just like, oh, crap. There's something wrong with this
wavelength
that I've got going on here. But anyway, today we are doing Materialists. Yay!
Sounds more high now.
Yeah, we're more like we're pumped up a little more now. So this here is your warning. If you do not want any spoilers, please go watch the movie before you listen to the rest of this episode. So yeah, we're just gonna dive right into it. So, what were your initial expectations going into Materialists? Did it meet your expectations as a rom-com, or did it surprise you in some way?
I don't think it felt like a rom-com.
It really didn't, though.
Yeah, there was some laughs, but not very many. There was a good amount. There was a good amount to. I will say there was a lot of serious tension in some scenes, along with just like awkward stares.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was intentional or not.
I don't know. It could very well. Which then again, this is kind of to portray what modern dating is.
That's true.
And modern dating is very, very scary. So it's kind of a interesting subject to kind of portray in a movie like this.
Yeah, that's very true.
But it's definitely more romance and serious than it is romantic and comedy. For sure.
It did have some comedy to like lighten the mood in some places, but not much.
Are you hitting on me?
Yeah, for real. That was very funny, honestly.
That was so funny. Oh my goodness. And also, all 3 people did an amazing job, I think.
Yep.
So
I can agree. They all did a fantastic job.
Yes, absolutely.
Especially with the tension between all 3 characters also. And the tensions between the two characters anytime they're on screen. Like Dakota and
Chris Evans'
characters, along with Pedro's character and Dakota's character. They all had a good amount of tension also in their scenes between each other, and they did a fantastic job, honestly.
But I loved the different dynamics that she had with both men too.
Yeah, I do agree with that. There was different dynamic along with different mannerisms in a way.
But then again, if you think about it, Dakota's character and Chris Evans' character were also dating prior to this.
Yeah.
They had already dated prior. They were exes when the movie starts.
So there's a little bit of an awkward tension between them.
Yeah, so there's like kind of that awkward tension, especially when they met at the wedding.
Oh yeah, that's definitely
when
awkward.
He brought her the beer and Coke.
I will say, though, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but he did place it on the table a little more aggressive than he probably meant to.
Yeah, I will say, yeah. He kind of did, but honestly,
I think it is meant to be that way because of the fact that she was talking with Pedro's character.
Yeah.
So I think it was done intentionally, but at the same time, he may have done it a little too aggressive than he actually meant to.
Maybe a little bit.
But I think it was very fitting, honestly, for the scene.
Yeah, it kind of
Especially with
maybe
more
showed that
context.
he was a bit jealous, maybe, that she was talking to this rich-looking, suave man.
Yeah, I can agree, because it definitely fit the tone very well, especially with the fact that then later on the next scene, that you get more of a backstory of their relationship between the two.
Mm-hmm.
So it does help set up that the next scene.
Yes, and it also showed why they broke up as well.
Oh yeah,
Because they were broke.
that was definitely awkward seeing them fight in the middle of the street.
Which is supposed to be awkward. It's supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
But what can you do in the middle of New York?
true. Not being in New York.
So, how did you feel about the setting of the wedding and how it served as a backdrop for the characters' developments?
I feel like the wedding just served as a purpose of all of us meeting the characters, or main cast, really, and that's it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because the only parts of the wedding that seem to be usable or viable for a reason behind it is to set up all the three characters meeting each other at once, so we can get the tension along with a little bit of background behind all three.
Yeah.
And then also seeing more into how Lucy's job has contributed to this said wedding.
Yeah.
I will say I do like the fact that she did spin the girl's insecurity back onto her in a positive spin.
Yeah.
That way to reaffirm her decision and wanting to marry this man, because it made her feel valued.
Yes.
And not because it was just because, not because of making her sister jealous, but mainly because she felt valued because of the fact that he loved her. And also because it did make her sister feel jealous.
Yeah, absolutely. But I also think the weddings had more of a purpose than I initially realized, because I think the first wedding was like the wedding that she had created, where it was like she was putting these two people together because they were compatible with like money and height and all of that stuff. Whereas the wedding we say at the end that she attends with John, Chris's character, that wedding was a wedding of love and not just connection.
True. I do find it funny, kind of funny at the same time, that Lucy Dakota's character was making up an entire scenario while they were proposing and everything, or not proposing, doing their vows.
Mm-hmm.
I do find it funny the fact that she was doing this whole scenario about leading up to like all this and everything, like being loved and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And then all of a sudden you start fighting, you hide from the kids, then you do it in front of the kids. You resent the kids because then they saw you fighting and all that. You
stop having sex. And
you divorce. You take the house.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
All of the bad things.
Yeah, all the negative things in a marriage just came out in that one scenario. It's like the event that led up to that, though. It really shows how messed up how much it impacted her as her job.
Yes. But we also don't know what her life was like growing up.
Well, we do know that she did grow up poor.
Yes, she did.
We do know that part, and that's mainly it.
But we don't really know anything about what her parents were like.
Yeah, we didn't see anything regarding that. Heck, we don't even see her parents, period. We don't even see John's parents either.
No. The only parents we really see is Perry's parents, which is Pedro's character's parents, because his brother was the one that got married at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. So you really don't see like a lot of background aside from Pedro's character, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's the only character we got more background on, family-wise.
Family-wise, yeah. We kind of learn more about his family than we do the other two characters, which is interesting.
Yeah, that is very interesting that you point out.
So, the main character works as a matchmaker. How do you think her profession influences her views on love and relationships, and how does that tie into her choices that she makes in the film?
I don't know, because to be fair, with with her line of work, she has to stick with a optimistic mindset when it comes to matching people up.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention, she also has to deal with some aspect of getting like all their what their information along with what they see in a partner and
Or
everything.
as she would put it, their boxes.
Yes, their boxes. Which I think is kind of a weird way of saying it, but at the same time, it does make a lot of sense.
To check their boxes.
Yeah. Check off what traits they like the most.
And that was like one of the biggest things in the film is that she only saw these people as the things that other people saw. She didn't see the person behind the boxes that were being checked. And that was like the big eye-opening thing when that happened with her client when her client got assaulted.
Yeah. Which we don't know what exactly the assault was. All we know is
we don't know if it was like sexual assault or if it was just assault.
Yeah.
We're not really sure.
As far as we know, all we know is that he went into the bathroom that she was in, and that's it. That's all we know.
Yeah, and then that's supposedly where she had gotten assaulted.
But then for some reason walked home with him.
Yeah, and then for some reason she let him
walk her home. Which we're still trying to figure out how that one makes sense.
Yeah, I might have to watch it again in order to figure that out.
Like, everything else makes sense. It's just the walking home part is the only thing that doesn't make sense.
Why would you not run away from him if he assaulted you?
And more so, and not to mention, I'm more so seeing it from, you're in a crowded restaurant, too.
Or bar, or club, or whatever it was.
True. And someone doesn't see him walk in there, hear a commotion or anything, and him walking out with said person that he's on a date with.
Yeah.
And not find it a little suspicious at all.
Yeah.
But perfectly fine to let him walk her home or anywhere outside the restaurant. So it's like, it doesn't add up fully with that part specifically. Everything else adds up perfectly fine storytelling wise. It's just that last part doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Which we were trying to rationalize for that one, but I don't think we ever could come up with something that made logical sense.
Yeah.
Or, like, I guess the type of assault was either. It's just very vague. It's just they just call it assault and that's it.
Yeah.
And that she was suing, not the guy, but the company. The company. Which I didn't understand that one.
No, she was doing a restraining order or something with the guy, and then she was suing the company for setting him setting her up with him. But she wasn't suing Lucy specifically.
Yeah, she was only suing the company.
So, but Lucy did say that she was one of her favorite clients because she is so genuine and so nice and she's real.
Yeah.
And so she really wanted to set her up with somebody nice, and the guy that she ended up setting her up with checked all of her boxes. But ultimately you don't know what the person is really like until you actually meet them.
Especially seeing the fact that she only saw a part of him. She never saw like the actual what his intentions were.
Yes, she didn't know what his actual intentions were.
And we don't even see him on screen.
Yeah,
we only hear his voice on a phone call.
Yeah, we only hear his voice. Which even if you think about it, his voice even sounded strange. Yeah. He had a strange tone in his voice, I was like, he even sounds weird. Like, the way he said, oh yeah, it went great,
Not to mention, he's also pausing a lot, too.
Yeah, he really, it's like he didn't want to normal. It was like he was you could tell he was holding back the truth.
Oh, yeah.
Of what happened.
Because something was just not off, especially, or not right.
Yeah.
Especially seeing the fact that she tried calling Sophie multiple times, but she would never answer. But the second she called Mark, or was it? No?
Yes, it was Mark.
Okay, it was Mark. And he picked up instantly, the first ring.
Yeah.
But Sophie, she called multiple times and not a single time did she pick up.
Yeah.
So it's like, alright, something's off.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, so something's off, but what exactly is it? And then we find out he assaulted her.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know the full aspects of it.
Yes.
Just that he assaulted her, she's getting a restraining order, and she's suing the matchmaking company.
Yeah.
Which I'm curious if she actually ever followed through on that.
I don't know. Maybe they'll have to make a second film.
Maybe. Because that
would be actually pretty interesting.
Because I'm genuinely curious. We know for a fact she's definitely getting a restraining order since the dude showed up at her house and started like spamming the ring button.
Yeah.
So we know for a fact the restraining order is getting done. We just don't know about anything else. Because she may have just settled out of court.
Oh, yeah.
Or just dropped the case altogether.
Maybe. We don't really know.
Yeah, there's too many factors, so we have no full concept of what exactly she'd done.
What I really wonder is if Lucy ended up taking the raise or the promotion.
Oh, at the end of the movie?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Would you think she would have took it?
She may have.
I honestly think that John would have told her to take it.
Yeah, I can agree.
I can see him being like, this is a big opportunity for you. You bet your ass you're going to take it.
Because she was also not sure
language.
about what to do afterwards, after resigning also.
Yeah.
So she had no game plan after that.
Yeah.
Just the fact that she just wanted to at least be with John, and that's it.
Yeah.
As far as future for time being. So we really don't know about what the game plan fully was for that.
Mm-hmm. So we meet two very different men. One is a rich, handsome unicorn, as they put it, who is Harry, and the other is her ex, John. How do you think the film sets up the contrast between the two? What does each man represent in terms of what the main character is looking for?
I don't know.
It's a really good question.
That is a very good question. Honestly, I don't know if I liked even the term that they used for Harry, a unicorn.
That he's a unicorn. Well, a unicorn is rare.
I get
a unicorn
that.
is like, I understand it.
I understand it too. It's just that I don't know if I like the terminology for it, because it's almost like they're calling them basically a mythological creature.
Well, that's because you're taking it too literal.
True.
You're taking it too literal.
Well, that's what I think about when you call someone a unicorn. Basically, it's basically
you're talking about the mythical creature, which is a rare thing
that possibly doesn't exist.
Which, that shouldn't exist, but it does.
Yeah,
it's a fantasy. They're a fantasy.
Mm.
So that's why they used unicorn as the term, because Harry is every girl's dream. Every girl's dream man. He's rich. He's rich. He's handsome. He's 6 foot tall. He is the perfect catch.
Mm.
And so that's why they use the term unicorn for him.
I guess I just feel like it's a weird terminology, honestly.
Well, you're a dude, so.
Very true. I get irritated with Hallmark movies because it's the same thing over and over and over. Just done.
But it's a formula that works, so
it's
they
a
keep
copy
doing it.
paste thing, and it annoys me how popular it gets because it's copy and paste, but just what it either
the
is.
Story just changes.
I guess it's because of the fact that Hallmark movies are just copy paste the same story every single time, but it's just they either do the girl's rich and the guy's poor, or vice versa every single time. Yeah. And because it's always one's from the city, one's from the countryside, and that's it.
Or they're both from the city, and just one's trying to get her foot in the door, and the other's already got his foot in the door.
Exactly.
It's just a formula.
Same thing.
It's a formula that works, so that's why they keep doing it. And I get it. I understand.
It, but at the same time, it's the thing that irritates me the most about it. It's always only Christmas movies a lot of times.
Well, Christmas is one of the more romantic seasons of the year.
True, but at the same time, they barely do a lot of Valentine's ones, but they do a lot more Christmas ones than anything. But they start all the way in July.
Christmas in July?
Yeah. So they play it from July all the way until Christmas.
Yeah, I don't get the whole deal with Christmas. I love Christmas, don't get me wrong.
There's a time and place for Christmas.
There's a time and place for Christmas, okay?
And not to mention, that's how you drain people from being cheerful during Christmas.
Exactly.
You hit them with the same thing every single time. And
although
also
there is
a
coworker that would disagree with us.
Yeah, that's very true.
Because he listens to Christmas music year round, I think.
Yep. He said he wanted to get rid of all the other holidays.
Just get rid of them all. How does the ex play into the main character's emotional journey? Is his presence a catalyst for growth, or does it complicate things unnecessarily?
I think it's a catalyst for growth.
I agree.
So she's seen the fact that he is from her past and everything, and the fact that they did used to date. So he already knows how she is, how she looks at stuff and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So he knows how and who she is.
He already knows how her mind works.
Yeah. So he knows what to expect and everything, and along with also, in a way, make her happy as well.
Mm-hmm. Even though he couldn't make her completely happy because he was broke.
Yeah. So but he did try his best, even though that a lot, because of the fact that he is poor, was one of the reasons that was causing the issue, because he felt like he was always feeling subconscious because of it.
Mm-hmm.
Afraid that he was never going to be making her happy because of the fact that he's poor.
Yeah.
Which I think is a good message too, is the fact that just because you're poor doesn't mean you're not entitled to find love.
Exactly.
Which I think is a good message.
And we also know that they were together for 5 years when they
broke
broke
was it
up.
5 years?
It was 5 years because it was their 5-year anniversary. When she ended up yelling at him in the road.
Gotcha.
They were going to a restaurant.
I guess I missed the 5 years part, but I did hear the fact that they were going to a restaurant for their anniversary, and that's when they had the argument in the road.
I'm pretty sure it was 5 years.
I may have just missed the 5 years.
I'm 85% sure.
I'm pretty sure I just missed the 5 years part, but I did hear the fact that it was an anniversary.
But I'm going to talk about my pet peeve because you clearly did not hear this. But he would call her buddy.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you mentioned this earlier. I did not hear buddy once throughout the whole film.
Because when he places down the Coke and the beer, she looks up at him and he's just like, "Hey, buddy." I'm just like, ugh, because I have an ex that actually would call me buddy. You know which one it is.
Oh my god!
You know which one it is.
I forgot about that.
No. You do not call your partner buddy. You just don't.
They weren't even dating.
Yes. No, they weren't, but at the time, but...
Yeah, they weren't at the time, so technically it doesn't count for this.
But still. I'm sure he probably did. I never heard
of
Because I'm sure
once.
they were probably friends before they got together.
More than likely.
So that's just kind of like the thing. I don't know. But for me, you do not call your partner buddy. That's just a big no for me. Just no. We may be partners and best friends, but you do not call me buddy. You just don't. It's just nip it in the bud. So, how does the film portray perfect in matches? Do you think it's making a statement about how we idealize love and partners in today's society? So, we'll take the unicorn thing, for example. He checked off that he's tall enough. Mm-hmm. He makes a lot of money. He has the face card. And, the face card. It never declines. I
feel like you're more so projecting Pedro mainly as this face card instead of his character he's acting as.
Well, that's what his character looks like, so you can't say I'm wrong.
True.
Because even she says you're really good looking.
Yeah.
So you can't say that I'm wrong.
Are you sure about that?
You dare challenge me, sir?
So it's the one with a Pedro blanket right behind her.
Listen. That was uncalled for.
Don't make me get McKenna in here.
She will rip me a new one.
Now I just want to picture of McKenna reacting to the movie.
Oh, I tried to invite her.
That'd be funny.
But she couldn't come, unfortunately.
Eh.
But if you think about it, everybody wanted their perfect partner. It's like the Karen. She had a whole list of things that she wanted.
She had a full-on resume.
Yeah, she had a full-on resume that the guy that she wanted for her ideal partner. And so it's like, you can't, and that's the thing too. That's another one of the messages in the movie that I just realized.
Don't be freaking picky.
Well, don't be picky, and the fact that nobody is perfect.
Yeah, no one's perfect, but at the same time, you can't, what was that one, Lucy's character said to, or Lucy's character, Lucy has said to one person about, he wanted, like, the aspects of one girl, I think it was job and something else.
Oh, I don't know.
And then
he wanted, like, all of these aspects
from
of
different three girls.
And have her pick a girl that is pretty much Frankenstein of all of that.
Yeah, he basically wanted to build a woman for him, basically.
Essentially, yeah.
Because I know for a fact he wanted the second thing for her to be the second person
It was 4 women.
Oh, was it 4?
It was 4
I thought it was
women.
3.
He wanted, like, the looks and stuff of one. He wanted one to have, like, the same hobbies and stuff that he had. And then he wanted one to like the same movies and music. And then one to have, like, the job or career as this one woman. And, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, dude, drop the standards.
Yeah, just drop the standards a little bit.
Like, drop them heavily.
For real. I was like, good lord.
To be fair, the whole thing, the height thing kind of irritated me the most, I think.
Which usually with women, they want the guy to be taller.
Yes, but at the same time, stop having this aspect of 6 foot.
Which is funny because...
That's not even the average male height in most countries.
Which is funny because my brother is shorter than his wife.
Exactly.
It's so funny.
He
He gets so upset when she wears heels and he's wearing his boots.
I think that's what irritated me the most throughout the film was the fact that they were so obsessed with heights, and it's like,
well, height and money.
Yeah, height and money.
Mostly money.
Those two things just kept irritating me the most, honestly, out of this, because it's basically the definition of dating standards is the fact that, oh, I want this person to be 6 foot tall, making 6 figures a year. It's like, drop the standards drastically.
Yeah.
You're never going to find that.
No, not realistically.
If you do, you're probably the luckiest person in the galaxy.
Yeah, for real. If you find something like that, let me know.
Yeah, for real. Because you're
if
never
they've
gonna
got a
find
brother
both.
or something.
Yeah, you're never gonna find both.
No.
You're gonna find one or the other with that one.
One or the other. You're never.
It's never both.
Definitely not.
Yes. It's just that irritated me the most is the fact that they kept bringing up height and salary. It's just that's why most relationships fail is those two things right there.
Yes, absolutely.
Because they focus so much on that.
Okay. How do you think the movie shows the hardships and compromises in love and relationships?
I think it does a really good job of displaying that full force.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with, like we were saying, how picky people are.
Mm-hmm.
How people only want to pick the bad out of people. They also want to pick only the good out of people out of them entirely.
Mm-hmm.
And then basically want to make a Frankenstein's monster, like you said.
Yeah. So
I think it does a really good job, especially with the whole Sophie incident as well.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that she was assaulted because of the fact that there was... You couldn't expect it on either part.
Yeah.
It's not Lucy's fault at the fact that the dude turned out to be that way.
Yeah.
It also wasn't Sophie's fault for trusting the fact that he wouldn't be that way.
Yeah.
You really can't.
She took a risk, and that's what ended up happening.
Which I think is a good message for the movie, honestly. The fact that when it comes to dating and stuff, you're always taking a risk.
Yes.
You don't know if it's ever going to... It's like gambling in a way.
Especially when you're meeting a stranger like that.
Yeah,
you're taking a gamble. And it's like, but you can't... Like, I'm not really sure how to say this, but there's only so much you can do, especially if in your hometown.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's only so many men in your hometown. And you're never... going to find somebody unless you go, which that's one of my issues is that I don't get out. I don't get out. I don't go to bars or anything like that, which I don't see how I'm expected.
Fair, you kind of can't.
Yeah, I kind of can't because I can't drink. But it's like, how am I expected to find somebody when I don't really go anywhere or do anything that like has single men, you know.
I think that's why most people suggest dating apps and stuff. It's mainly because of that. But at the same time, some people just treat that as
a catalyst.
Yeah. And basically use that for like promoting their own stuff instead.
Yeah. And then with online dating, it's so much more difficult because you have to entrust that the person that you are seeing in these pictures is the actual person you're going to meet.
Oh yeah.
And that makes this even more dangerous.
Catfishing, that irritates the heck out of me. Is the fact that catfishing, also because of the fact that people like to post a bunch of group photos.
Mm-hmm.
For some odd reason, I don't understand the logic behind that.
I don't get it.
Yeah, it's like you post only the group photos and that's it, and there's not even two people.
And then I'm having to figure out which person you are.
Yeah, that's what irritates me most. It's not two people. Also, this is we're like 4 to 8 people in these group photos, and it's like, okay, whose profile is this?
Yeah,
it's like, okay, is it you? Is it you? I don't know if I want it to be you, but at the same time, it's like, who is it?
Yeah.
And that's what irritates me most is the fact that people want to post group photos. They post fake pictures that they found of some celebrity or something.
Yeah.
Or nowadays they're using AI generated photos now.
Oh gosh.
To like, edit like features and stuff to make them look more attractive than they actually are.
Yeah.
Or to make them look like a completely different person. And then when you show up to the date, that's not even who it is whatsoever.
Yeah. Heck, I might as well just die alone.
That's what I think.
At this point.
Yeah, so I think that's why most people have turned off from dating is because you can't trust people, period, nowadays.
You can't. You just can't.
And it doesn't help the fact that technology has gotten to the point where it is causing this big of an issue.
Mm-hmm.
So you're basically relying soulfully on in-person interactions like conventions and bars and stuff like that. You're depending on those, and that's even a giant gamble.
Yeah, for real.
Because you have no clue how the person is in that, like a group setting like that, or a public setting like that, or a private setting just any private setting really. I don't know where I was going with that, but either way, just depending on a public setting and a private setting, you have no clue who the person is in both settings.
Yeah.
Or if they're going to be the same person in both settings.
Yeah.
So it's like you never know. Sophie took that chance and it turned out to be the complete opposite.
Yeah.
So you don't know nowadays.
Don't know. It's just dangerous. It's just dangerous. Not just for women, but for men too.
Mm-hmm.
It's
bad on both sides. And I think that's why most people are refraining from dating altogether is because of those issues.
It's like, if I meet somebody, I meet somebody. If I don't, then oh well.
Yeah, not to mention people just using them for money and everything.
Yeah, that too.
That's mainly the gripe that I have with the whole obsession with the salary stuff for like the dating matchmaking stuff.
Yeah,
is the fact that most of the people, they're just going to look only at the money part and that's it.
That's right.
And try to take advantage, because I don't know if you have seen this, but a while back a girl had gone out on a date with this guy, and when they went to, after ordering dinner and everything, at the end of the dinner, she went to place 3 more orders of food to take home for her kids and make him pay for it.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, along with their meal already at the restaurant and everything. So It's like, that's scummy.
It is.
The fact that you wanted to use him like that, but at the same time, why did you
do it in the first place?
Yeah, why did you go on the date to begin with if you're just doing it for that and that's it?
Yeah.
And then try to gaslight him saying that he's the problem and everything.
Yeah.
It's like, are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm. Oh. Anyway, so how do the relationships in Materialists reflect real-life dynamics in dating today? Do the characters seem authentic, or do they lean into rom-com tropes?
Once again, take out the rom-com part of it.
Yeah, it's not really
very realistic, honestly.
It really is.
Especially with the awkward tensions in most scenes between the characters also.
Mm-hmm.
It does a great job of making it realistic, but at the same time, it may be a little over-exaggerated with the awkwardness.
Maybe a little, yeah.
Just
especially
a tiny
with
bit.
John.
Yeah, just a tiny bit. It's just like these long moments of silence where they're just staring at each other, but nothing's happening. And it's like it's almost like puts me in mind of the Amazing Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
It puts me in mind of those with Gwen Stacy. It's like they're just staring at each other, not saying a word or anything. It's like, are you gonna say something or what?
Yeah. But I also noticed about like the lenses, because there was at some point where I noticed where they were using like a fisheye lens almost.
Oh, gotcha.
Because the way the screen would look is like you'd have the character in the center and then it would be faded out in like a circle pattern around them in the background. I had noticed that and I was just like, is that a fisheye lens or is that? I wonder what kind of lenses they used now.
The photographer came out right there.
Yeah, my photography background kind of came out right there, but but yeah, I thought that was interesting because the background was faded and it looked like spherical. So I was like, oh, I wonder if that was like, I wonder what kind of, anyway. But yeah, these characters seemed very authentic, especially Pedro's character too. They felt, which I talk about Pedro a lot, but all of them are great. To
be fair, I did enjoy the moments with Dakota's character along with Pedro's character.
I did too.
They both felt very natural.
Yeah, it was very natural, very compatible, which of course outside of the movie they are really good friends too. So
oh, that's good now.
They go to like concerts and stuff together. They're hilarious.
That's just very convenient then.
They're hilarious.
Both play those roles.
They're hilarious. I love them. They're so funny. Which just the trio in general is just really funny off screen. They're just so funny.
They did a good job, honestly.
In one of the interviews Dakota and Chris did, they ended up FaceTiming Pedro when he was in London filming for Doomsday.
That's hilarious.
I think he said he was about to go to bed or something. Or, no, they were telling him to go to bed, and he was like, what, go to bed at 6 p.m.? And they were like, yeah, go to bed, good night. And I was just like, I love you guys. It was so funny.
That's funny.
They crack me up, man. So, how do the two men challenge the main character's views on love? Are they genuinely right for her, or are they part of her emotional journey?
Definitely emotional journey.
Yeah. I would say both.
I can see it.
Because her and Harry were definitely compatible, and I do think if they would have given their relationship more time, I think there could have been love there.
Yeah.
If they had given their relationship a bit more time to bloom.
It's just the fact that his insecurity was also causing issues too.
Yes, because he did have, leg extensions? What was the surgery called? He had some kind of surgery to make him taller.
Yeah, where they break your legs and then pull them apart. I think they add like a bar or something in your legs. That way it can grow back.
Yeah.
Grow back properly what it needs to. That way you can get like an entire 3 to 6 inches in height.
Mm-hmm.
Which that's insane. The fact that that's a real surgery and everything.
It is a very real surgery, and that's honestly very scary.
Yeah, the fact that you're having to... I'd be terrified that my legs would not be able to fix themselves after that.
Yeah, I would be absolutely terrified.
Granted,
I would need all the painkillers.
Yeah, granted, they'll make sure that they grow back properly and everything. That way you can still walk, but at the same time, I don't trust you. I don't trust you. Break my legs and then put them back together.
I can feel it in my legs now. I'm just like, no, don't break my legs.
Yeah, it's not a comfortable feeling whatsoever.
I wonder if women get it too.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't either.
Because it feels like it definitely a surgery for both men and women.
Yeah.
So it would definitely like...
Oh no, now my leg feels weird.
Because it definitely feels like one of those surgeries that a lot of people will get to like get taller and stuff. Especially with people who feel very insecure about their height and everything.
Yeah.
Which is understandable.
Yeah, which is very understandable.
Hence why even Pedro's character was insecure about being 5'6". And gaining that extra 6 inches is what gave him the confidence to even hit on Lucy.
Yeah, and even the women started coming to him instead of him going to them.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's so strange to think about. Just one change about you changes how people see you. And it wasn't just women either. He also mentioned that it changed the way he talks to people, the way he makes business deals and things like that.
Yeah.
It changed his whole life, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm. That's definitely an insane thing.
It really is. So, how do you feel about the ending of the film? Does it wrap up the love triangle in a satisfying way?
I say so.
I say it did too.
I do say it does because it wraps everything up in a neat bow. It leaves a little bit of a cliffhanger for Pedro's character, whether or not he actually finds the person he's looking for.
But we do know that he was going on his first date with somebody.
Yeah, he was going on his first date with someone, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we know as far as after for that.
Mm-hmm.
But it does wrap up basically Lucy and John's story, pretty much.
Well, not really, because we don't know if she ended up taking the...
love story.
Well, the love story, yeah. We know they end up together.
Yeah.
So...
Whether or not the job, what she does for job-wise, we don't know. That one's still up in the air.
But yeah, I genuinely think the movie wrapped up quite nicely.
I do too.
Especially when they kept coming back to like cavemen and cavewoman stuff.
I do like the fact that it did explain that.
Yeah. So it was like that was how it first happened, and then it kind of like all throughout the film you talk about the caveman. And even Pedro's character is like, I just feel like you're talking to me like I'm a caveman.
Well, to be fair, she did bring it up, though. She did say that it was her dream.
Yeah, that's true.
It was one of her dreams that she's had. So, anytime we cut to the caveman people, that's basically her dream that we're seeing of what she is basically expecting, pretty much, of what it used to be like back in prehistoric times.
Yeah. And I also liked the shot of the museum. Did you notice the museum?
I did. I did notice the museum. I was about to point that out, but decided not to.
I thought that was really neat to actually have the museum in the background and have John carrying the bouquet of flowers in his bag.
I did like that callback to it, especially with the fact that it did have a picture of the said caveman.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the movie on the tapestry on the on the museum.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think the movie ultimately says about love and relationships? Is it a realistic portrayal of the struggles in love, or does it lean more into a fairy tale ending?
Honestly, it's more of a realistic one.
Yeah.
It's very, very realistic. Is seeing the fact that how people view dating as a concept and everything. Mm-hmm. And how everyone goes about it also. But also demonstrates the risk of dating and everything.
Yeah.
So I think it does a very realistic way of how it portrays dating and everything.
I think the whole movie is very realistic.
I can agree.
To how dating works nowadays. Because it's like I can see the need of having a matchmaker. Yeah. Especially nowadays, because it's like you don't know what you're looking for.
Not to mention, they're definitely a good third party, like middle ground, pretty much. Yeah. That way you can, middle ground. That way you can because they're all. Grant, I don't know if they would be really the ones to do it, but they can be a good way of background checks. Yeah. To make sure they're not some criminal with say. Grant, even though some criminals, yes, I will agree, criminals can change their ways and everything and turn to be good. But there's some of them that you have to really be mindful of their background because you have no clue if they rehabilitated or they're basically looking for excuse for another victim. Mm-hmm. It's very up in the air when it comes to that.
Yeah. So we're just going to kind of wrap things up here. So... after watching Materialists, would you recommend it to fans of romantic comedies? Why or why not?
I don't know if I recommend it for romantic comedy fans.
But people that are into romance type movies, I would definitely recommend it.
This is more, I would say, if you're expecting a lot of laughs in this and funny moments, this is not the movie for that. There's some jokes in there, yes, but they're not that common. Yeah. I would say there was a total of maybe 5-6 jokes?
Maybe. Give or take a few.
while some rom-coms they mainly lean on the fact that there's a lot of jokes in them,
Oh yeah.
this is not that movie.
Yeah, this is not that movie. This movie has more of a romantic, serious tone to it
Mhm.
than it does comedy. So I wouldn't necessarily label it as a rom-com, as we've mentioned before.
Yeah, it does.
But it is a very good romantic movie, I would say.
Mhm. It does a great job of portraying how it is in real life dating and everything. Even though yes, it's in a movie format and everything, so there's gonna be a little bit of exaggeration,
Mm-hmm.
but it does a great job of portraying dating perfectly
It really
in the way it actually is nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a very good movie if you're mainly just a romance watcher.
Yeah.
If you do watch rom-coms and you do want to give this a try, just have a very low expectation when it comes to the humor.
Yeah, well, the humor can kind of be a hit or miss.
Yeah, the
For me,
humor is
anyway.
hit or miss. Granted, it could be just the fact that we just some jokes went over our heads
Yeah.
and we were too focused on something else part of the story wise. But Bailey with Pedro. But this is definitely a movie where it's more of a serious undertone than anything.
Yes, absolutely.
And just the occasional humor is to kind of break the awkwardness along with some like tension.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And so for our last question of the evening, so what stood out the most to you about Materialists in terms of its take on modern love? Do you think it offers a fresh perspective on the dating scene?
I think it basically does a great job of bringing forth everything that happens when it comes to dating, the stuff that you don't see along with the stuff that you do see,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff to be wary about along with the type of risks that you're taking when it comes to dating.
Yes.
While yes, when it comes to dating, you're gonna have to take a risk.
Yes.
This is just how it is. But at the same time, that one risk can also pay off massively.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically the sense of gambling.
Mm-hmm.
While yes, you're risking it all pretty much for that one in a million shot of getting jackpot, but at the same time, there's always that chance that you will hit that jackpot and it just works out.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So I think it does a great job, honestly.
It really does. I love how this movie does all of that, and it shows a whole new fresh perspective on what you should look for, what you shouldn't look for, what's important and what's not important, things of that nature. But yeah. That's all for today's episode of Popcorn Unscripted.
Thanks so much for tuning in.
If you enjoyed the conversation, be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at PopUnscripted, then Popcorn Cinema on Facebook.
And let us know your thoughts or any suggestions for future episodes. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out any future episodes. We upload every Wednesday and Saturday.
If you'd like to send us a message or subscribe for bonus content, check out the links in the description.
Your support means a lot and helps keep the conversation going.
If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to leave us a review. It helps us out a ton, and we love hearing your thoughts.
Until next time, keep your popcorn close.
And your movie critiques closer.
Thanks for listening to Popcorn Unscripted.